Hey friends, so I have a very special video for you all today. This video is a collection of people from my life who I'm very lucky to be able to call friends, who have answered my call to action. Basically, I put on Instagram about a week ago, I think, saying that I would like to share some personal stories, personal advice on how people are dealing with mental health issues / just mental wellness concerns during the coronavirus pandemic and being under lockdown and how everyone's coping with that. And these lovely people responded. A couple of others did and couldn't make it, so if you are those people, don't worry. I think following the kind of success of this and how much of a great response everyone has provided, I think I will be doing this again in the future, not necessarily for coronavirus, but for other things. But for the time being, I'm not going to waffle on forever. These lovely people have provided their advice and tips and personal stories, so I want to say a special thank you to James, Emily, Jerry, Leonie, Connor, Laura and Maura. Thank you so much for being part of this video. I can't thank you enough, and I would like everyone who watches this, who enjoys this, to show them as much support as possible. Please go and follow them on social media and share this to anyone who you think might find this useful or helpful, even if it's just from a solidarity perspective, because I think that's what we really want to achieve here, is to make people feel less alone, and you know, that everyone will have different things that makes them feel better and helps them to deal with this situation better. And I think the nice thing about having several people weigh in on this is you can pick and choose what works for you. So yeah, make sure you show them some love and share this as much as possible. Not for me, but for anyone who might be struggling to deal with any kind of mental wellness concerns or mental health issues through this quite worrying situation. This is going to be a long video, so I really encourage you strongly to watch as much of it as you can, or watch all of it. I will timestamp it so that you can refer back and jump to different people should you want to or need to in the future. So I'll put that in the description and wherever I share it as well on social media. So without further ado, I will let my lovely friends get into it.
Hi everyone, my name's James Walsham. I run a social media account called The Honest Bloke. It's a page dedicated to all things kind of mental health and well-being. A lot of it through the kind of lens of myself as a bloke, so helping men understand issues to do with mental health. My advice or tips around how I'm managing to cope during this quarantine lockdown as a result of coronavirus is to focus on the things that are within our control and stay present. So not look too far into the future, not worry about things that are out of my control. The way that I go about doing this, or the way I have gone about doing this and found it to be massively helpful, is to write down a list of all of the things that are causing me anxiety or stress or worry, and looking at or dividing that list into two separate lists. And those are things that I can influence and the things that I can't. In doing so, having a list of things that I can influence, that allows me to channel or focus on those things in particular. Obviously focusing on things that I cannot impact or change, such as how long are we going to be in lockdown for, or for example, I'm finding it quite stressful at home. I'm currently back living with one of my parents, and it's just it's just quite difficult for me, as we all do, sort of have issues with sort of being cooped up. So those are things that I cannot change. So as a result, I'm focusing on things like, making sure that I'm going out exercising every day, focusing on putting content out on my social media, just all of those things that I know that I can have an impact on and actually do something about. The other one, like sort of touched on, being present and not looking too far into the future. Meditation is a hugely helpful tool. If you've never done it and you might think it's, I don't know, something that's quite hippie or weird, or I don't know. That is meditation in its simplest form, is exactly that. It's just being able to stay present and in the present moment. And by focusing on things like breathing, it allows you to sort of sit and be present. My advice around that side of things would be to, there are a number of amazing apps that you can download, will give you either free trials or, you know, they have like a free part of the app that you can sort of download and get used to it and figure it out. The ones that I have used, the particular one that I really enjoy using is the Waking Up app, by Sam. I can't remember the guy's name now. But if you like that, I think you get like a 3-day trial. But as someone who's already paid for the premium account for the entire year, I can share a month, a free month on that. And it's a guided meditation app. So all you do is you sit down, give yourself a dedicated space where you won't be interrupted and you can kind of just, you know, not be distracted by anything. It's 10 minutes and you sit and just listen, and you know, the guy just guides you through it. And yeah, it's just an extremely easy sort of guided way for you to to learn to meditate. And I've found it hugely helpful throughout for a number of years. So I would highly recommend that. If you do want to give me a follow, please do. The page is at The Honest Bloke. Find me on both Instagram and Facebook. But obviously I hope you're all doing very well, and would be great to hear your feedback if you try any of those things. So wish you all the best, and speak to you all soon.
Hi everyone, hope you're all doing okay at home. I think it's really hard not to go stir crazy at the moment, so it's so lovely that people are coming together and sharing their coping mechanisms and just things they've been up to fill their time. If, like me, and you're furloughed, you've got a lot of spare time in your hands that you're not used to, and it can be hard to deal with that mentally, and just, you know, keep upbeat about everything. I'm fortunate enough to be doing a course at the moment, so that's been taking up a lot of my time, and it's actually given me more of a stress-free time to be doing it rather than doing it alongside my normal job, which has been great for me. But I've seen lots of things online, courses and things like that, some of them for free, which you could always, you know, have a go at. If it's something you've always wanted to do, now's a great time to give it a go. While you've got the time, just to keep yourself busy and feel like you're achieving something, which I think is quite difficult at the moment if you're just sat indoors all day. So, I mean, that's such a great thing to try. Exercise for me has been a huge one, massive stress relief, and I think when I'm at work, I always, like after work, I'll make excuses about, you know, I'm tired, I've had a long day, I don't really want to go and do exercise. So it's been a great time to get back into it and get some of my fitness back, which is, you know, it's making myself feel better about myself generally, as well as passing some time, which has been really good. I think doing hobbies as well, getting back into things that maybe you haven't had time to do for a while. For me, that's drawing and things like that. It's been really good to have the time to be a bit creative again, and just again, it's stress relief. It takes your mind off of things, and just a nice things to fill your time with. Other little things, I've been painting my nails like crazy. Also been painting the nails of the 2 guys I live with, just for a laugh and keep our spirits up more than anything else. But yeah, just little things to keep you going. Hopefully this will all be over soon, and you can all be back out with your loved ones, which would be great. I think it's overdue now, but stay safe everyone, and hope you cope well, and keep your head up.
Right, hello everyone, my name is Jerry and I'm from the channel Planting Memories, which is a gardening channel, like a houseplant channel and gardening, and I'm here obviously because Emma has reached out and asked for people to kind of collaborate and give advice and their experience, or how they're coping with the current situation. And I don't have masses to say, but I think it's important that even if you don't have much to say, just to show your personal views and your advice and your help, because even the littlest, or what I may think is little, may help someone, or may make you feel a little less isolated. I don't know. So the question is how are we coping, and how can we give advice to those who don't feel like they're coping, or those who feel lonely, etc. So the first thing that came to my mind is, am I coping? What's the definition of coping? I feel like a big part of the problem is people putting pressures on themselves, like asking themselves, am I coping with this? Am I fine? Am I perfect? Like, I think it's important to take pressure off of yourself. Just do what you enjoy. You don't need that pressure. You get pressure from your school, you get pressure from parents, you get pressure from social standards and what you want to live up to be, and that sort of thing. And I feel like that is a huge lead on mental health, depression, anxiety, that sort of thing. And especially for me, I've come up in a big family and I've got a lot of brothers and a sister, and I was always the person to sit there playing with plants rather than doing like financial stuff or playing numbers. So I always put pressure on myself because I was different, I guess. That is kind of going off anyway, but I think focus on what you enjoy, focus on what brings you happiness, and that is what will carry you through. That is the only thing that can help you. What will help? I can sit here and tell you what it says on the internet to help you, but if what it says isn't making you happy, then it's not fully worth doing. You need to do what you enjoy. Like, I enjoy coming out in my greenhouse to get away from everything and watch my plants grow, pot up my plants. Obviously people are limited on what they can do now at the moment, but this is just temporary. So it's just important to not put pressure on yourself to follow standards that other people are living, especially at the moment. All we're seeing is online stuff, and yes, those people on these social media may look like they're having a great time, but that doesn't mean they are, and that doesn't mean that you need to put pressure on yourself to match that, because it's unnecessary. So personal pressures, if I haven't made that very clear, is a problem that I have. So at this time and where we all are now, at least we all have one thing in common right now, but it does give you the idea that there's less meaning to life. That sounds a lot deeper than I intend for it, but you need to give yourself purpose and give yourself meaning, because a lot of key workers are still working, but people that aren't going out to their job and their routine and feel like they're giving to the community or working for something, have lost that, and it can make you feel like you don't have much purpose. But for me, I do these videos and I do my plants, and that makes me feel like I have a bit more of a purpose. So I just feel like it's important to make sure or try to be productive in your day. So try and do something, but at the end of the day, when you get in bed, you can look back and be like, oh, I'm glad I did that today, I'm glad I made that time to do that. And I've been looking into it only a very little bit, and there was a video I watched, and someone mentioned how people put pressure on themselves to do something and do it perfectly the first time, and this can make you put things off and off and off. Personally, I do this with my videos. I think, oh, this isn't the perfect time, this isn't the perfect lighting, this isn't the perfect day, I won't do it then, I'll do it another time, I'll do it another time. But just push yourself to do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't aim to be perfect straight away. You can work it up, you can retry, you can do it again. Or if you're writing an essay, I know I have a lot of essays to be writing right now, but I'm not doing them. But if I put myself in the position to just sit down and start writing, it doesn't have to be perfect straight away. I can work on it, I can edit it, and I feel like it's important to remember that your first time doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the exact... I think it's wrong for us to go in expecting to have a completed finished product the first time, but for some reason in our brains we think it needs to be perfect, and there's not point starting it unless it can be perfect. So push yourself to do that without expecting it to be perfect. If you do have assignments to be writing, if you've got to be revising for exams, like whatever it is you're dealing with in your life, try not to put pressure on yourself so that it has to be perfect. Just try, and that is the best you can do. You've just got to keep yourself happy, keep yourself motivated, which is very difficult. But so some personal advice that I would give. I came up with a couple of ideas. So message friends, ask how they are, because I know personally myself, I would love my friends to be messaging me asking how I am, and of course I do have a couple of friends that do, but I just feel if it makes you feel that much better when people ask you how you are, then you should do that to others to help them, because they may be going through a struggle that they haven't shared, and you reaching out is allowing them that platform to share that problem or to speak to you, or maybe you've reached them in the perfect time where they just are finding it hard. So definitely do that. Join online forums, because at the moment the only thing we have that's outside of our houses is like the internet. So join an online forum of something you enjoy. So I would join gardening forums, or I like aquarium fish. I used to keep like aquariums, so I joined like reef forums where you talk about the common interests, and just that bit of social interaction really does help you, and it takes your mind off of feeling alone and feeling down. So and spend time outside. I know a lot of people don't have the ability to get outside if they live in flats and that sort of thing, but if you have a garden, if you're lucky enough to have a garden, or have a patio or a balcony, just make some time, like maybe make a coffee or a tea, or when you have breakfast, eat it outside, just so that you're not just sitting outside but you're making it productive as well. Like you're outside for whilst also consuming, or I don't really know, but for me I don't need an excuse to come outside, but I know for a lot of people they only come outside to eat and to drink or that sort of thing. But I think it's important to put that time in to get outside, because it does clear your head. Being around plants, like it is like there is a lot of research in it, and it's called the biophilia effect, and if you've got some spare time, look into that, because it is really interesting. Just being outside, being in fresh air, being around plants, just viewing plants really does help your mental, and it's important to try those new things if you haven't done that before, because a lot of people have time now that they didn't have before. So just try new things, do something out of your comfort zone that you thought maybe you wouldn't enjoy before, but you've got time now so you can experiment. So it's just about that. So I just wanted to finish this off with just saying that the reason I do YouTube videos is, I'm not going to say it's solely because of this, but a big part of me growing up, I never felt like I could talk about plants, because all I do is talk about plants, and a lot of people get bored of it, and so I feel like a lot of people get bored of it, or I don't want to put that pressure on someone having to hold a conversation with me about plants, because I know that can be tricky. So part of the reason I do YouTube videos is to express or have a plant conversation, or talk without the pressure of people judging me or getting bored of what I have to say. So if I do it in front of a camera just talking to myself, I mean, I'm not going to bore myself talking about plants, so it kind of just takes that pressure off. So if you've considered making a YouTube channel, or you've thought about it in the past but you haven't had time, or like me, you have something that you have a million words to talk about but no one there to listen, just set up a YouTube channel, start talking to your camera, upload it. Like, you may not get a lot of views, I don't get a lot of views, but I enjoy it, and it makes me feel like I can go to bed at night and feel like I'm glad I did that video today. And it's just stuff as simple as that. I really think it helps. So I'm not sitting there telling you how to cure anything, but I'm just giving my personal experience with anxiety, and how to lessen the pressure on yourself, because you cannot control the pressures of other people, but for yourself, the least you deserve is less pressure. Just make sure you're looking after yourself, and other people, that's up to them, that's their choice if they want to look after you or that sort of thing, but just rely on yourself, because at the end of the day, you're the only one that's there. That sounds deep, but like, going through problems, personally, when you hit rock bottom, I'll say rock bottom because rock bottom's is different levels for a lot of people, but when you feel like you're at rock bottom, you just need to remember that you are there. And that sounds crazy, but I hope a lot of you understand where I come from when I say that. So just appreciate yourself more. Big yourself up. When people think that you're sitting there loving yourself or think you're overconfident, just appreciate that you are an amazing person. If you have a hobby that you love and people think you're crazy doing it, so what? Enjoy it. Do what you enjoy, and that is, I guess that is my main purpose of what I have to say. So I just want to thank Emma for allowing me to say my piece, even if it doesn't seem very helpful, but yeah, I hope you're all well, and thank you to Emma for doing this, because I think stuff like this is really good. It's nice to get people connected and to come together to produce one outcome, and a lot of small voices do make a big impact, so it's the right way to go. So I hope you all have a lovely day, and check out my channel if you would like to. As I say, it is a plant channel, so I'm sure a lot of you probably aren't into that, but I appreciate you taking your time to listen to me, and thanks again to Emma, and I'll see you all later.
Hi everyone, my name is Leonie. I'm 26 and I'm a mum to a beautiful 4-year-old girl. I wanted to volunteer for this video because I've struggled with anxiety and panic attacks and tiny bit of depression, but mostly anxiety in the past, and I still do now, very much so. And I just wanted to come and have a chat about how me personally I'm coping with the COVID-19 pandemic at the moment. So for me, I've had a bit of a rocky day today. I went to sleep last night feeling really, really panicky. My chest was tight, my heart was racing. I did some breathing, some deep breathing, and then I obviously fell asleep. So this morning I woke up and my chest was so tight still, really, really tight. I felt like I couldn't get my breath in, and then I started panicking that I had coronavirus because I couldn't breathe properly, and then my chest got tighter, and then I felt worse, and it was a vicious circle this morning. So for me, when I feel like that, I know it's panic, I know it's anxiety, so I listen to my body. I say either out loud or silently to myself that I am just anxious. This is my body's way of telling me that I am anxious. I'm in like a fight or flight response at the moment, and it's okay. It's okay, Leonie, that you feel like that. It's normal to feel like that. And then, because almost saying it out loud to myself makes me feel better. It makes me feel normal. And it makes, yeah, because I've recognised it, so then I can deal with it rather than trying to push it away, push it down, which I have done in the past. Push it away, push it down. Actually, to be able to come to terms with that and deal with how I'm feeling is so much better, to recognise it and say it out loud and just be like, yeah, I feel anxious. I feel really panicked right now. And that's okay, because we are going through a strange situation at the moment that none of us have ever experienced before. I then got changed. I put some makeup on, which I haven't done in ages, and that always makes me feel better because I really enjoy doing my makeup. I made myself a cup of tea, and I sat in my garden and I did some deep breathing for five minutes, probably not even 5 minutes, because my 4-year-old was running around like a hooligan. But I just grounded myself, and how I ground myself is I put my 2 hands on my chest, my feet on the floor, I close my eyes and I do some deep breaths. And I'll do how many of them I feel I need to do to bring me back to calm, to bring me back to my centre. For me though, I like to feel my heart beating, because I can feel it slowing down. Every breath I take, it slows down. I like to feel my feet on the floor, and I like to push down. It just really helps me feel grounded. So I did that, and my brain instantly calmed down. My heart instantly stopped racing, and my chest eased a little bit. Then I went for a walk with my 4-year-old, which I'm not really enjoying going out at the moment, but it makes me feel better going for a short walk. So that was nice. And then, yeah, my heart, I can still feel it, my chest is tight. My chest is hurting me still because I know I am anxious. I am anxious about this whole situation, you know, like everybody else, which is completely normal. For me, with social media, I'm trying not to really go on there because Facebook is so full of so many opinionated people sometimes, and really negative people actually as well. And then there are really scary stories on there as well at the moment. So when I'm feeling like this, I will not go on Facebook at all, because for me it's such a trigger for more anxiety. So yeah, other things what to do if I'm feeling really anxious. I will, you know, make myself a cup of tea, and I'll do something that I really like going for a bath, reading my book, watching my favourite TV series, something like that. I won't sit there and think about it too much. I will recognise that I'm feeling like that, but I won't sit there and think, oh, I'm feeling really anxious, I don't know what to do, because that's not helpful for me, that's not helpful. I also do suffer a bit with depression, so I will kind of, it's not full-blown depression. I think it's probably just really feeling really low sometimes. So the past couple of days I felt really low, like almost like someone's poured cement in my body, so I can't get up and get going. I don't feel motivated, no motivation to do anything. So I just lie in bed and look at my phone aimlessly and not want to do anything nice. How I managed to get out of that this time was in my head, sorry, my 4-year-old just came in. So where was I? Yeah, so I will sit there and I will write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. So I'm grateful for my garden at the moment. I'm grateful for my safe place, my house, my home. I love it. I'm grateful for my husband and my child. I'm grateful for being well, and my family are well and safe. And I'm grateful for cups of tea and chocolate. That's what I'm grateful for. And sometimes, you know, that mindset, and then you start thinking about sometimes I will start thinking about other people's situations, and I will think, wow, you know, some people are really going through a bad time, or, you know, they're going to work and they're first-hand experiencing coronavirus, and then I have to take a step back and think, wow, I am lucky in my situation, and that will make me get up and motivated. You know, but then also if I don't want to do that, if I want to lay in bed and have a nap or feel lazy, I allow myself to do that, because that's okay too. So yeah, I think it's just being comfortable with how you're feeling and not to dismiss it, to embrace your feelings, like embrace them, even the really ugly, not nice ones. It's really important to embrace them, basically, is what I'm learning through this whole process, and that it's okay to not be okay. That's a biggie, that's a big one. But yeah, I hope my video has been informal, if that's the word. Formal, informal, informative. I hope my video has been informative, and that I have helped people by giving you some tips and tricks with your mental health, and just to know that you aren't alone. We are going to have good days, we are going to have bad days during this whole pandemic, and they might be more extreme because we are living in an extreme world and in an extreme life at the moment, so it's all okay. But yeah, I think that's everything. Take care everybody and stay safe.
Hi guys, my name's Connor, and my advice today is a simple one. It's stay connected to as many people as possible. We're all in this together and should all look out for each other. Don't feel like you're alone. Thanks guys.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm 27 and I live near Oxford. Before coronavirus struck and the whole world imploded, I wasn't exactly a stranger to mental illness. Last year I spent 6 months as a day patient in the psychiatric hospital near to me, but I've probably been struggling with my mental health for probably 12 years now, roughly. So yeah, these are my tips on how to cope with mental illnesses at a time when the world is a very strange and scary place. So my first tip, pointer, whatever, is to connect with people. This probably sounds really obvious, but if you're stuck at home by yourself, it's really difficult to kind of sustain that long term. You need people to check in with you, to make sure you're okay. So yeah, kind of my close friends I speak to every day, every other day, and we're sort of all looking out for each other, making sure that kind of we're safe and as sane as possible. Yeah, I think writing letters as well is a really nice way, and it's also, you're giving to other people. Kind of, there's something a lot more personal in sending a letter than there is like sending a text message or someone a message over Facebook. Taking the time to write a letter, if you're able to go out and post it, that is something that's really nice to do, and something that I definitely need to do more of. I've also been quite strict with myself about having a routine. So as much as I would like to lie in bed until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I know that that isn't good for me. And I know that kind of I need to implement a routine and structure to feel better about myself. I don't cope well not having a routine. So I try to make sure I'm up, dressed, presentable, by 10:30 every day at the latest. I'm trying to build in exercise to like my daily routine, so I'll get up and do some exercise. Not only does that make me feel physically better and more awake, mentally it gets those endorphins going, which is such a cliched thing to do, but it is so important at the moment. I'm doing a lot of reading, again talking to friends kind of probably every day. I have a video call with one of my friends. We don't always have a lot to say because there isn't a lot going on, but kind of just that time spent with them means the world to me, and I'm really grateful that kind of I'm in a position where I have really close friends and we have the technology to be able to sustain contact. What else? I think not taking things for granted. Like, I spent 2 years not being able to work and was quite isolated because of that. So I think the reason I'm coping with this lockdown is because it's not hugely different to my life before I was able to go back to work. But I'm not going to take it for granted when I'm able to go swimming again, or when I'm able to go and collect my own prescriptions. Although, again, very grateful that I'm in a position where people are able to go and collect things like prescriptions or food for me. So yeah, my big ones are connecting with people, keeping a routine, and if it's possible to do some exercise. Don't beat yourself up if you're not productive and successful every day. This is completely uncharted territory that none of us have been in before, and we're learning as we go. Hope that's helpful.
Hello, my name is Maura. I'm a tropical plant collector from Italy, so excuse me for my English is not perfect. I wanted to take part of this video for two main reasons. First, because Emma was one of my first plant friends when I opened my Instagram account, @mossplants. And also because I've been dealing with depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder since I was 16. Today I'm almost 37 and I generally feel better, but of course this is a long road, so I can't really say I'm over it. As you may know, Italy has been in quarantine for 38 days today. Today is the 15th of April. And at the moment I live alone. I moved back to southern Italy, where I'm originally from, after living here and there for almost 18 years. And I'm not only dealing with the quarantine situation, but I'm also having a temporary break from a 11 years relationship. So I definitely have plenty of reasons to feel sad, upset, insecure, lonely. Anyways, I'm not here to give an advice. Of course, I'm not a specialist, and I find myself crying every other day, so I'm not probably the best, but I just want to share my experience. 20 years of experience with mental issues, which I don't really like to call them issues. Different aspects of one's personality. Let's say facets of personality. Anyway, no matter how we call them, the thing is, well, we all share the same feelings, but in the past 20 years I've learned how to react to patterns that occur when we are in stressful situations. So I think the most important thing is talk. Talk about it. Don't fear judgment. Talk about what you fear and what you feel, and just talk with anybody. You know, the more I open myself about this condition, the more I find people that have the very same situation, even people that you wouldn't really expect to suffer anxiety, panic, depression. And I feel it's kind of comforting in a way. It's sad, but I think we are a generation of people that suffer anxiety for many reasons. So talk about it, because you will find a lot of people that can really help you. And honestly, not only the ones that have experienced this thing in the first place. I think it's very useful to find support. You can find support also from people that are not in the same condition, that have no idea of what's going on, because they probably have other concerns in their life, perhaps more practical rather than emotional. And rational people can find very easy ways to deal with problems, which we don't. We are not rational. So, talking about anxiety, which is probably the easiest thing to fight for the ones that are not in a severe condition. Severe, yes. Panic is really sneaky. Like, you know, comes out of nowhere. You're waiting in line at the grocery and you want to escape. You feel like you're stuck. Some people experience a loss of breath. I personally feel like I'm about to faint. But people that don't suffer this condition on a daily basis can also experience this in this quarantine world we're living in today. So what I do when my hands start, you know, sweating, my blood freeze, I tell myself, okay, if I have to faint, I will faint. Someone will pick me up. If I don't feel good and I need to sit down, I will tell people I don't feel good, I need to sit down. And if they ask me what's going on, I will tell them I suffer anxiety. Let's be serious here. Like, Xanax is the second most sold drug right after painkillers. So this means a lot of people do deal with this every day. So break the pattern. When you're about to go out, whether if you're in this condition every day for a long time or if you're new to this, keep doing what you do. And if you don't feel good, ask for help. Talk about it. I found myself giving advice to my mother because she was starting to experience some kind of these anxiety patterns. Like, she came home from food shopping a couple of weeks ago and she told me she couldn't breathe. She was very anxious and she told herself, I will never get out again. And I was saying, Mom, welcome to my world. I know exactly how you feel, but please force yourself to get out and do what you do, because this is the first step that can lead you to build an anxiety disorder. Of course, we are not in a red zone, so I could give her this advice because we are still allowed to go out and buy food, walk your dog. We are not in a super bad situation. So break the pattern, talk to people, ask for help. There is nothing to be ashamed of. It's completely normal to feel like this now more than ever, but also if you're not in quarantine, don't be afraid. It's okay to be sad, it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel bad.
So I hope you really enjoyed that. I am going to weigh in with just a couple of things that I've been finding helpful over the last couple of weeks before we sign off. Basically, I know that I did a video a little while ago saying 20 tips on how to deal with anxiety in coronavirus pandemic / COVID-19 pandemic. I still stand by everything that I said in that. I think now that we've had a good few weeks of it in the UK, it's given me a lot of time to reflect and experience it for myself. And I think at the time it was kind of, here's a quick fire response to things that may help and things that generally help with anxiety. Having sat with some of that, I think the key points that I'm finding really helpful is, number one, treat yourself as you would a friend. So if you're feeling down, or you're feeling rubbish, or you're feeling self-critical, or you're struggling with something, everyone naturally has a negative self-talk, and that is the time where I think we all find that it kind of increases. What we want to do is take a step back, sit down with yourself and just think, if my friend was in this situation, what would I be telling them? Would I be battling with them and telling them off and telling them they're lazy and rubbish or whatever is going on for you? You wouldn't. So make a list of what advice you would give to your dear loved friend in that situation, and then reflect that back to yourself. That might be useful as speaking in the mirror. You might find that writing yourself a letter addressed to yourself is helpful, or whatever it is. I think the important thing is just to really cultivate kindness to yourself. And you know, it's okay in this time of a mad, crazy, unprecedented global pandemic that you haven't managed to learn a new language. It's okay that you haven't got out of bed before 2 p.m. It's okay that you're not coping and you're not dealing with things, and that you haven't done the washing up for 7 days. It's fine. Let it go. It's okay. I promise you, you're not the only one. I would say try to structure your day. So the way that I do that is I found when I tried to do it all at once, then that was just kind of impossible. It didn't kind of happen, and then I'd feel rubbish for it not happening. So what I've slowly been doing is adjusting one little thing at a time, doing that for a few days, and like kind of letting everything else go for that time being. And then once that's sort of built into a routine, then starting to build another thing in, kind of thing. So for me, that was starting yoga before work. I don't know why, but until I stripped everything else out and only focused on just getting up a little bit earlier for work and doing 20 minutes of yoga, that is the only way for me to kind of process and deal with a switch up in the routine when I'm already kind of finding things a little bit difficult. So just take things one at a time and build up a little structure for your day. You know, try and cultivate a routine, because we are creatures of habit, we are creatures of routine, and we kind of need routine to feel secure and safe. And what we are all not feeling right now is very safe, and we need to cultivate that safety, that kindness, that love. Get fresh air. I know some people are lucky enough to have a garden. People like myself, we don't have gardens, but we are obviously still allowed out for exercise every day. That might not be the case if you are self-isolating and it's not safe for you to go outside. But whatever the situation, even if it's just that you open the window, allow yourself to crank up the heating just for that 20 minutes or whatever it is, or grab a hot water bottle so that you're not freezing to death, but just get some fresh air, get some air flowing, so that you're not just breathing in stale oxygen that you've been breathing in all day, and just use that to breathe and just fill your lungs with some lovely fresh oxygen. And finally, I think just let yourself feel what you feel. I've been through a very crazy range of emotions over the last couple of weeks, as anyone who I've been opening up to will know. I've had anger, I've had frustration, I've had numbness, sadness, fear, worry, hyperactivity. I've felt elated and kind of crazy. A lot of sort of bipolar symptoms, which for me is an indicator that, you know, when I'm not dealing with things very well, because I'm not very good at actually recognizing that, I have to look for my indicators, such as my radical mood shifts. So I think just go with the flow. Let yourself feel what you feel. It's okay. None of it is permanent. And I think that's really important to remember, that we will get out of this. What you are feeling, if you try really hard not to feel it, you're going to feel it more. So just sit with it, allow yourself to feel it, be present and focus on the positive things. And you know, maybe rewatch this video where we've got a handful of really lovely, self-aware, conscious, kind people who've shared their advice, and if nothing else, it will just make you realize that you're not the only one, you're not alone in feeling this. We're all kind of going through it together, although it's hard to feel that, especially if you're on your own. So reach out for your resources, catch up with your friends, tell people how you're feeling, but allow yourself, be kind to yourself. It's all okay, and it will be okay. Thank you so much again for watching, and thank you to everyone who has contributed to this video. I will be linking everyone's social media as they've allowed in the description below. I know that it's been out of the comfort zone for some of these people, so that makes me all the more grateful to them for contributing. They're just incredible, so make sure you show them some love. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video.